It's a pleasure. Good evening. Welcome to News Hour with me, Ibrahim Samra. Coming up in tonight's bulletin. Sierra Leone play host to the 32nd Conference of Directors Generals of Customs in West and Central Africa. Security sector response to media reports on alleged cocaine vessel departing Sierra Leone's shore to Spain. And stakeholders meet to review the SLBC's acts. These stories are more are lined up in this edition of News Hour. Sierra Leone is hosting the 32nd Conference of Directors General of Customs for the World Customs Organization for West and Central Africa. During the opening ceremony of the 5-day summit hosted by the National Revenue Authority, President Julius Maada Bio called on customs authorities across the region to enhance digitalization in revenue collection and strengthen regional cooperation to tackle illicit trade and transnational crime. Let's now join our senior status correspondent Margaret Senge for more on that report from the Freetown International Conference Center in Aberdeen.
The mandate of customs has evolved profoundly. It is no longer just confined to revenue collection. The modern customs administration starts at the front line of national and regional security, confronting threats that are complex, transnational, and increasingly sophisticated. Illicit trade, narcotics, arms trade, counterfeit medicines, environmental crime, terrorism, and smuggling of endangered species are present realities right across West and Central Africa. We face smuggling networks that drain public revenue and fear instability in our region. We continue to lose lives to counterfeit medicines disguised as legitimate products. The conclusion is unavoidable. We cannot confront 21st century threats with outdated systems or outdated thinking or mindset. For too long, ladies and gentlemen, a false assumption has shaped custom policy. The notion that security and trade facilitation exist in tension. No, I reject that assumption. Security and trade do not compete. They advance together or fail together. So ladies and gentlemen, vigilance, therefore, is no longer optional. It is a national obligation that we are tasked with. Ladies and gentlemen, let us choose convergence. Let us choose strength. Let us together choose a future where borders protect our system and where our region prospers together. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor and privilege to declare open the 32nd Conference of Directors General of Customs of West and Central Africa region. I wish you fruitful deliberation, and may God bless us all.
In November last year, President Julius Maada Bio appointed engineer Tidini Awajabi as the first female managing director of SAWACO since its establishment. 6 months into her appointment, Madam Jabi has made series of achievements by increasing revenue generation to 15% and introducing robust financial and functional management, among others. Speaking to SLBC, Engineer Awajabi said her management has developed and launched a 5-year strategic development plan that serves as a blueprint for Salwako, designed to enhance distribution of water supply to rural communities and the commercialization of water supply service in the country.
Firstly, I want to say a very big thank you to His Excellency the President, retired Julius Maada Bio, for creating the enabling environment for women to attain leadership roles. We've achieved a few things. The first and foremost was the assessment, which I say is the building blocks. And then after that, one of the quick wins recommendations that came out of that assessment was the development and operationalization of an innovative billing and revenue management system. Salwako is a water utility and it should generate revenue. But over the years, Salwako has been, lacking in that area. It has not functioned as a proper water utility. So it had deviated from its primary mandate, which is the provision of water supply and sanitation services to the provincial areas apart from western area. So it had deviated. So we wanted to bring Salwako back to its original state and see how it can be a functional and a financially viable institution. So when I came, I found out that based on the assessment, Salwako does not have an integrated or a smart revenue management system. So they have 3 stations that were using smart systems and 7 stations that were using manual Excel spreadsheets. From a perspective of utilities management, you cannot, ensure financial management or proper revenue management using it on a manual basis. So this system focused on putting in a robust and smart commercial management system that allows for us to manage whatever revenue measures or systems that we want to put in place. We've been making strides towards ensuring we transform Salwako into a functional and financially viable institution. One of the things that we quickly put together is a robust billing and revenue management system. And over the past 5 months, since I took over, the past 6 months, I would say November to April, we've had an increase in revenue by 15%. It might seem minimal, but it is something, and it shows me that the future is bright for Salwako. For the first time in over 3 years, Salwako break even with its revenue generation. That is also another significant milestone to note. So that is one of the achievements. Another achievement is the enhancement of Salwako's organizational model. So for us to ensure that we carry out our service delivery effectively, the structures that are put in place needs to be properly, done. So we had to enhance the organizational model through the operating core. We enhanced the utilities operations because this is something we want to focus on. We enhanced the technostructure that is focusing on planning and developmental initiatives because these feed into the operations and seeing how, we could make sure we enhance service delivery. So that was also enhanced upon. And that has yielded in us seeing an increase in our revenue generation drive. Another thing that was achieved is the development of our 5-year strategic development plan. One of the outcomes of the organizational assessment that I did, it showed that Salwako lacked the requisite strategic direction. What does that mean? Interventions had been done on an ad hoc basis. So everybody just comes, reacting rather than being planned and proactive. Since 2022, when the last strategic direction of Salwako expired, they had not had one. So we put together a 5-year strategic development plan for the period 2026 to 2030 that was launched in March 2026. Another achievement is that we are currently reviewing the Salwako Act of 2017. one of the outcomes, again, of the organizational assessment indicated that the enabling environment to give Salwako the legal authority to operate effectively is being stifled. So we want to ensure that we have our act revised.
That was Engineer Tideni Awajabi, Managing Director of Salwako, highlighting some of her achievements since her appointment by President Julius Maada Bio just in 6 months. Findings from the Improving Child Survival in Africa, the role of azithromycin integrated with malaria control strategies survey done disclosed that azithromycin combined with malaria prevention strategies could reduce child mortality across Sierra Leone. This disclosure was made during a high-level session of the iCaria trial study involving the University of Sierra Leone and the Ministry of Health. Let's now join Esther Sako, who witnessed the session at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Freetown.
The Improving Child Survival in Africa, the role of azithromycin integrated with malaria control strategies, was a clinical trial said to have been carried out to ascertain whether azithromycin combined with malaria prevention strategies could reduce child mortality in Africa, especially Sierra Leone. It was disclosed that over 20,000 children participated in this major 6-year study launched in 2021, leveraging Sierra Leone's expanded program on immunization platform to administer azithromycin, a widely used antibiotic alongside Fansidar for malaria treatment. While providing an overview of the study, Professor Mohamed Samai highlighted persistent challenges like malaria causing 50% of under 2 mortalities in northern Sierra Leone communities, despite global declines in under 5 mortality. He emphasized the trial's integration of 3 azithromycin doses, expand promotion on immunization and visits 10, 14 weeks and 9 months to reduce all-cause mortality up to 15 months without burdening families. Presenting the results, Kwabena Owusu-Keyi from the University of Sierra Leone said short-term benefits showed a 51% mortality drop in the first 30 days post-intervention, reduced hospital visits, a strong safety profile for azithromycin. However, Kwabena Owusu-Keyi said 18% all-cause mortality reduction up to 18 months was not met. Professor Russell, Deputy Vice Chancellor of the College of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences, COMAS, praised the trial as a model of collaborative research uniting national leadership, academic excellence, and global partners like IS Global.
They also demonstrated that high-quality clinical research can be successfully conducted in Sierra Leone at an international standard. Sierra Leone has the opportunity not only to contribute to evidence, but also help shape future survival strategies in high-burden societies, especially in sub-Saharan Africa.
Speakers urged collaboration to translate findings into policy, building on related trials like Multiply, which supported expanded SP from 3 to 6 doses, now adopted by the ministry. The session marked a milestone in Sierra Leone's capacity for world-class research amid COVID-19. World-class research among COVID-era challenges, fostering optimism for integrated interventions to curb child mortality. SLBC News, Esther Sako reporting.
As Primary 6 pupils are set to take the 2026 National Primary Schools Examination, Chief Proprietor and Director of Studies and Administration of the Beckham International Model Academy has assured parents that his school will have a 100% pass. Reverend Samuel Momodu Kaba said the school has prepared its 24 MPS candidates very well for the exams. Sulaiman Babature reports.
Situated at the hilltop, southridge of Hill Station, Freetown, the Beckham International Model Academy, according to its chief proprietor, Reverend Samuel Momodu Kaba, has been performing very well in public examinations. Reverend Samuel Momodu Kaba said, in the 2025 NPSE, the school's best pupil, Alimatu Jabi, scored aggregate 322. He therefore assured parents that the school would have a 100% passes again this 2026 NPSE.
For the past years, our last candidates will have something like a 255. And the assurance is that indeed we are going to have a 100% pass again this year. We know our teachers have done well. Our pupils also have been trained. And they can do marvelously well.
To prepare the pupils well, he said the school organized a spelling bee competition every month, literary and debating competition quarterly, radio news programs, and other educative activities. He said they ensure teachers teach and complete their syllabus. One of the school's 2026 NPSE candidates, Brewer, also spoke about how prepared he is for the exams.
Very hard. I've took my mock examination and I'm ready to make my family proud.
Though the school has been performing well, Reverend Kaba called on authorities for help as the school plans to improve its infrastructure, curriculum, and science laboratory, among others. He gave the assurance during the school's speech day and prize-giving ceremony, where the best performing pupils for the 2024-2025 academic year were given prizes. Among the prize winners were Alimatu Jabi, Best NPSE Candidate, Zainab Kouma, Best Beke, and Abigail Amadi, Best WAS Candidate. Other pupils were also given prizes for class performance. SLBC News, Slaman Babatu reporting.
The security sector, through the Office of National Security, has in a press release taken note of recent media report about a cocaine seizure by Spanish police involving a vessel registered in the Comoros Islands, which reported departed Freetown on the 22nd April 2026 before it was intercepted en route to the Mediterranean. The ONS stated Sierra Leone Port and Harbour Authority and the Sierra Leone Police have not received any official communication from the Spanish authorities regarding the incident. The release, however, went on the security sector has already begun preliminary inquiries and interagency assessment to establish the facts surrounding and the port movement. ONS said investigations were ongoing and relevant authorities would take all necessary verification processes to determine the full circumstances of the matter. The security sector assured the public and international partners that the matter was being treated seriously and professionally. ONS called on anyone with credible information relating to the matter to contact the head of the Criminal Investigations Department, CID. You are watching News Hour coming to you live from the Southern Broadcasting Corporation from Broadcasting House here in Freetown. Fisher Folks at Tambakula Wharf celebrated the handing over of Echo Wave Fish Market Center, Sierra Leone's first modern facility in the Aberdeen Wharf community. The project, implemented by Gold Sierra Leone and partners, seeks to end decades of exposure to harsh weather and boost economies through new processing and storage options. Esther Sako witnessed the handing over ceremony and our reports.
Before now, fisherwomen endured grueling conditions, toiling under relentless rain and scorching sun without proper shelter, leading to post-harvest losses and undignified working environments. Today, their chairs fill the air at the Echo Wave Fishing Market Center. The first dedicated facility in Aberdeen Wharf community opened its doors, handing hundreds of women tools for dignity, higher earning, and safer days. For decades, fisherwomen like Adama Bangura Chialidi of Tambakula Wharf braved scorching sun and pounding rain just to sell their catch, often watching profits spoil before buyers arrived. She declared an end to their suffering, noting the facility adds value to their trade.
They suffer under rain, under sun. We know that markets.
The facility added real value to our trade. This facility adds real value to our trade and ends our battle. Thank you, Gold, for standing with us. I want all women to own and sustain it. Its maintenance lies in our hands, and we will hold each other accountable to keep it shining and promote dignity in our work.
The climate smart design solar powered renewable energy market has over 40 stalls reserved for women and fisher groups, solar powered freezers, slashing post harvest losses, processing areas for value added sales, clean water sanitation, solar lighting for evening safety, protecting both livelihood and Sierra Leone's coast. Asma Jallo, Assistant Programs Manager, Gold Sierra Leone, highlighted the impacts of the Blue Economy project in many fishing communities, stating it promotes community ownership to the project and also training for fisher folks. Sierra Leone Country Director James Riak praised the community's resilience, noting the market aligns perfectly with national goals. He called the project a life-changing support, enabling fisher women to earn with dignity, young traders to build future confidently, and communities to thrive with hope.
The project is built on a promise to protect what sustains us. Through climate smart design and renewable energy, we are choosing a path with development and environmental protection that go hand in hand.
Deputy Minister of Planning and Economic Development tied the project to the medium-term National Development Plan, stating it enhances quality of life and incomes as the crave for more investments in the blue economy. It called for sustainability so as to grow livelihood and standards for years. The newly constructed EcoWave Fish Market offers a cleaner, safer, and more efficient working environment for the entire fish supply chain from catch to consumption. SLBC News, Esther Sako reporting.
The Sierra Leone Urban Research Center, in collaboration with the Institute of Gender and Children's Health Research and Center of Dialogue on Human Settlements and Poverty Alleviation, has organized an intervention inception workshop. They came together to strengthen responsiveness of health services to extreme weather events, otherwise known as the Urban Shade Project, to address critical challenges faced by communities, especially climate challenges in normal settlement. Stella Bangura tells us more.
Strengthening responsiveness of health services to extreme weather events or urban shade is a call for collaborative action, with all stakeholders bringing different perspectives together, gearing towards developing a collaborative document and data to safeguard urban areas. According to Director of Research and Training, Sierra Leone Urban Research Center, Brahima Kuruma, the workshop was organized to introduce the project and share progress made so far, clarify roles and responsibilities across participating institutions and the context of extreme weather events, preparedness and response, and to formalize partnerships through a memorandum of understanding while establishing a stakeholder working group. During the workshop, Dr. Abu Conte, Senior Researcher, Sierra Leone Urban Research Center, gave a breakdown of the project and progress made so far during the last years.
So it's a multidisciplinary research project, across three middle and low-income countries, where we are doing participatory research to really understand the lived realities of how climate change interacts with different layers of vulnerabilities to intensify the impact on people living in vulnerable settlements. Where we have community members whom we refer to as co-researchers who are working directly with us, so they are really embedded. But in terms of the urban or city stakeholders, we have engaged different stakeholders, including the Meteorological Agency, the National Disaster Management Agency, National Public Health Agencies, to be able to bring on board, the diversity of those voices, to see how climate change is shaped from those different lenses.
For the presentations on key findings from Phase 1, Dr. Desta Ali explained about communities' understanding of climate risk, health impact of extreme weather events, and disaster preparedness response and support systems, amongst many. Participants commended the initiative, giving feedback on findings, and explained how the Urban Shade project has contributed to their communities.
Previous years, many NGOs and other partners going to the community, do their research, leave the community without involving community people. And we know that we that are living in the community, we are the problem and also the solution. So like being part of this project as a co-researcher, we help to mobilize community members.
We expect say the data we don't get from the research and go be used meaningfully for impact the community.
Na side we no say the cover, understand? And we in a community where we go up the hills, you go meet poorer people than downstairs. So like now the problem that really happen, we get flooding, we get house problem. People like just can knock but no more than they go attack, I sweep, they go with them.
The Urban Shade project is a 3-year project which started in 2024 and set to end in 2026, with 3 participating countries, Sierra Leone, India and Kenya, to address climate change related events. Led by Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine, the research team is working collectively with community members, making them part of the research. The project targets 3 communities: CKG, which refers to Crab Town, Kwale Town and Grebu community, Susans Bay and Moiba. It is anticipated that participants from communities gather information, participate during the implementation and disseminate the information to fellow constituents in their various communities so as to swiftly address climate-related challenges and be prepared in cases relating to climate change. Reporting for SLBC, Stella Bangura.
Key stakeholders in Sierra Leone's media sector, including the SLBC Board, the Independent Media Commission, the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists Large, Paramount Chiefs, and the Attorney General's Office, have held engagement on a draft document aimed at reviewing the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation Acts. Moses Conte reports.
The engagement, organized by the Media Reform Coordinating Group, MRCG, and partners, sought to identify critical gaps within the existing Act and build consensus on reforms needed to reposition SLBC as a truly independent public broadcaster. The current SLBC Act provides leadership and direction from the corporation, including the delivery of public interest media content and the development of long-term business plans. However, civil society groups and media stakeholders have repeatedly called for the reforms to strengthen transparency, accountability, and editorial independence within the institution. Presenting the draft recommendations, resource person James Tambalebi highlighted 6 key reforms areas proposed for inclusion in the new act. These include governance and representation reforms, focus on establishing an independent board selection process and a transparent appointment system for the Director General. The proposal also recommends the appointment of 2 Deputy Director Generals responsible for administration and editorial operation respectively. On funding and resource allocation, the draft proposed the establishment of Public Broadcasting Fund supported through fixed percentage contributions from institutions such as NACTA, NACIT, among others. The reforms also seek to strengthen editorial independence and public service mandates through the creation of Regional Advisory Board aimed at promoting decentralization and semi-autonomy for regional broadcasting operations. Stakeholders noted that the reform could pave way for a more independent and sustainable public broadcaster, free from excessive effective parliamentary control. Minister of Information and Civic Education Cherry Noba commended the initiative and pledged government support for the reform process, acknowledging existing challenges while describing the review as an important step toward long-term solutions.
SLBC challenges. We need to overcome these challenges. These reforms lay the blueprint for us to do that, and we can do this together.
The president of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, Alhaji Malika Kamara, emphasized that the reform process should not only focus on structural changes, but also prioritize the welfare of media practitioners.
We are not only focusing on structural reforms. For us, it's that we are also concerned about the welfare of reforms. So I will encourage everybody here to pay attention keenly to the areas of welfare. Because if we only focus on the structural reforms and forget about the welfare, the area of independence will be questioned.
Chairperson of the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation Board of Trustees, Dr. William James, described the engagement as timely and encouraged participants to approach the discussion with seriousness and commitment.
The board, management and staff, we are happy that MRCG is coming to the conclusion of this whole process today. We know the work that SLBC does in Sierra Leone. And we know the importance of the state broadcaster regulation. And we all know that the state broadcaster, in the packaging of their work, in the presentation of what they do, they have to be fair.
MRCG coordinator Dr. Francis Sowa said the stakeholders' engagement carefully examines government structures, board independence, and a reporting mechanism as part of efforts to strengthen public broadcasting in Sierra Leone.
Things around sources of funding for the SLBC is a serious problem. When we make recommendations and the funds come in, we expect the public service broadcaster to improve in its output. Things around the infrastructure, there are recommendations around that. Things around the welfare of the members of staff. So the whole reform is a package. It's a package that addresses governance issues, infrastructural issues, financial issues, and welfare issues. And definitely, one would think that when all of these things are done, the end point is to see a viable and a sustainable public service broadcasting that serves the public's interest.
Several participants praised MRCG for leading the reform initiative and called for collective support to ensure that the proposed bill is passed into law. According to Dr. Sowa, following the validation process, the draft document will be presented to Parliament for further consideration and approval. For SLBC, Moses Conte.
President Julius Maada Bio has pledged full government support for the revival of the Sierra Telecommunication Company Limited, Sierratel. He made the commitment at the official relaunch of the state-owned mobile operator, which had been off the market due to financial and operational challenges. Our senior State House correspondent Margaret Senga report from the Miata Civic Center in Freetown. I want to apologize to you viewers. We shall bring that story in our subsequent news broadcast. The leadership of the APC party, including some of the members of parliament, have met with President Julius Maada Bio at State House. The delegation was led by the acting national chairman, Ambassador Alhaji Usman Fodi Jansanem. The visit comes following the return of APC MPs, mayors, and councillors to governance after weeks of boycott over concerns in governance. The meeting marks a shift in tone after a prolonged standoff between the opposition and the government. For instance, the APC lawmakers had stayed away from parliamentary proceedings, citing dissatisfaction with the appointment of the Electoral Commissioner Chairman. Now back in Parliament, the MPs say they are ready to re-engage on national issues. During the meeting at State House, Acting National Chairman pledged to foster dialogue and cooperation with President Bio in the national interest. They say their focus is to work in the interest of national development and stability. The President welcomed the delegation and emphasized the need for dialogue and collaboration across party lines. Where the engagement is being seen as a step forward easing political tensions and strengthening cooperation between the government and the opposition. From the presidency, we move to Parliament. Earlier, the leader of the opposition, Honorable Abdul Kabu, has urged the latest communique signed by them and the government leading to their return to Parliament be honored. Our parliamentary correspondent, Dennis Fraser, tells us more.
That I'm extremely proud of you for coming back to this well.
The Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Secretary Solomon Thomas, commended the opposition MPs for returning to parliamentary proceedings and national affairs. He told them they were elected by their people and that they have a national duty to serve. He called on them to use their voices in the well of Parliament to address the concerns of the people.
You were elected by your people to represent them, and there is nothing that should take you away. So I'm proud of you. What you have done is extremely noble, and I urge you to continue to represent your people and use your voices in this way. If there is anything you want to address for your people, it is your place to come to this house, to use your voice to advocate for your people. Let me say I'm gratified that you're coming back, and we move on.
The leader of the opposition, Honorable Abu Kabu, urged that the communique signed leading to their return to Parliament be honored. This includes the laying of the Agreement for National Unity in Parliament and the establishment of a committee to exercise oversight of the elections management body.
Thank you for the way you have shown exemplary leadership for which we grateful. And similarly, we want to advise that the community that was signed return to Parliament is honored.
Speaker Thomas acknowledged his call and promised to meet with the leadership of Parliament on the issues as soon as the leaders on the government bench return from other international parliamentary duties. Meanwhile, lawmakers debated the Sierra Leone community-based mangrove conservation and restoration project, simple, equitable and revenue sharing agreement. According to the Minister of Environment, Jiro Abdullahi, the agreement provided for 40% of the top pride revenue in the targeted communities. He said the move was a mitigating action against climate change. Minister Abdullahi told lawmakers that he would ensure the full protection of the interests of communities involved.
Our communities are being exposed to the effects of climate change, the rising sea levels. Our communities are seeing a reduction in the catch that they get of fish. Their very livelihoods are being affected negatively by the depletion of these mangroves. And as a responsible government, we saw it fit to try to protect that as much as possible.
Although the agreement was not contentious and yielded support from both sides of the aisle, the question by Mr. Speaker to vote in favor or otherwise was put on hold and requested for better clarifications at a later date. SLBC, Dennis Fraser reporting.
In a similar vein, outside the four walls of the chambers of parliament, legislators from the opposition APC gathered in the office of the leader in parliament in order to brief journalists on the resumption of the normal parliamentary attendance after weeks of boycotts. The leader, Honorable Abu Kabu, stated that the APC boycotted parliament in order to force reforms and succeed in getting commitment on ECSL restructuring, tripartite implementation, and therefore the party was back in Parliament to legislate and monitor the process on electoral reforms. He said despite the demand to remove ECSL Commissioner Edmund Alpha-Field, it is still a process they are looking forward to. Here is an excerpt of a statement to journalists.
In all parliaments, if now because of minority, majority, people and they say, no, you're not minority, they participate. No parliament not in the world will go participate. Because the only parliament in recent times where I know say opposition and ruling bed get the same number and have been Ghana in their last parliament. 27, and then get one independent, we later choose for joint government. You understand? But in any parliament, you get majority, you get minority. Minority can lose the votes, but it does not mean they're not for make them position clear. It does not mean they're not for get and say. It does not mean they're not, because for posterity's sake, when the country goes bad, you get who are the whole responsible. It's not boycott because we feel for boycott. Of course, Sierra Leone is measured for every bad reason when it comes to transparent elections, when it comes to free and fair elections. Again, we will meet with the moral guarantors, because let's tell you about elections, the worst disservice you can give to the people of this country, now where you give them a result way different from waiting them vote. If the people them vote say, we want you for lead we, and at the end of the day, other person emerge as the winner, that's the worst disservice you can ever do to the people. So the people are very conscious of what happened in the past elections. You don't believe me, I've been counting officer. I was in the Calais Center, Napot Local, where they cover 3 districts in the northwest. We get Cambia, we get Karine, then we get Port Local. We were in the middle of counting when they came with Cambia, the boxes from Cambia. We not even open one single box from Cambia. Then they read 60% of the stations. We contain 318 stations from Cambia, but we not even count it. So the people are worried that they will not want to cast their vote, and at the end of the day, we not able to account for the votes where the people will cast. Various positions and various stands. We are an integral part to the Parliament of Sierra Leone. Remember, there are only 2 political parties in the Parliament of Sierra Leone. If one no the na monologue, then go they get. Then go they soliloquize. Then go they soliloquize.
That was Honorable Abdul Kagbo, the leader of the opposition in Parliament, updating journalists on the resumption in Parliament. You are watching News Hour coming to you live from Stellum Broadcasting Corporation, from Broadcasting House here in Freetown. Now, let's now go to our segments, and for that, we start with entertainment.
Hello and welcome to another update of our exciting entertainment news with me, Abdul Mansari. In this edition of Entertainment News, Boise Krish represents Sierra Leone at the Africa Social Media Influencers Summit in Ethiopia. Tyla talks on the unfortunate video that went viral between her and Rihanna. And of course, Nigerian female artist Tiwa Savage awards over $2 million scholarships to boost young musicians in her country. Now, Boise Krish, one of Sierra Leone's most followed influencers and TikTokers, with over millions of followers on TikTok, Facebook, and other social media platforms, has represented Sierra Leone at the Africa Social Media Influencers Summit in Ethiopia. The event is said to serve as another crucial platform for African content creators to challenge negative portrayals of the continent and promote more balanced narratives about Africa.
5 years of madness.
Oh. Okay. Boise's participation at the 2-day summit marks a proud moment for the country, showcasing Sierra Leone's presence on an international platform.
Look at my face. I thought me and you, one go take ground.
The 2-day gathering brought together some of Africa's leading digital content creators to discuss how storytelling, innovation, and digital connectivity are shaping communication, public engagement, and economic opportunities across the continent. Wow, what a great movement, Boise. As you're still there, remember that we got your back. Away from that, the Grammy Award-winning female artist Tyla from South Africa has commented on the uncomfortable video that went viral when Rihanna ignored her at the Met Gala 2026. She narrated how she introduced herself to her, however, she was ignored, stating Rihanna said her baby daddy A$AP Rocky was calling her. Tyla said she was like, "Oh, hey," and she was like, "Hi, my baby daddy is calling."
I went up to her, I was like, "Oh, hey, she was like, "Hey, my baby daddy's calling me," and then she left. And I was like, "Oh, maybe she was busy." So I don't know, I felt awkward. What the heck? I felt awkward. I don't know how to say hi.
Whoa, the internet is really hot. What do you think? Drop your own comments in one of the comment sections online. Finally, the Tiwa Savage Music Foundation, in partnership with Berklee College of Music, has awarded 18 Nigerian students with over $2 million scholarships to study music in Boston, USA at the institution's campus. These fully funded undergraduate scholarships, presented at the 2026 Berklee in Nigeria Grand Finale, aims to empower young African talent with professional international music education. The atmosphere was electric and full of excitement as students were called for their awards. The beneficiaries will also receive professional training at one of the most prestigious music institutions in the world. This is a big step towards empowering the next generation of African creatives and expanding their opportunities on global stage. This is indeed what we call passion to grow the young. Keep it up, Tiwa. Well, that's all we have for you in this edition of Entertainment News, and I've been your presenter, Abdul Mansari. Bye-bye.
Mansari, we now cross over to our Sportex to take all the latest updates in local and international sports.
Time, like every other thing, will write the final script in every endeavor. Welcome to the sporting updates that keeps you in the know. And by the way, my name is Abdul Kabir. Now, Sierra Leonean wrestler Gabriel Dolphin has secured an important win in Egypt after an historic African Championship outing. Here is the update. The 2026 West African Wrestling Championship held in Egypt from the 27th of April to the 2nd of May 2026 featured notable under 17, under 20, and senior categories across the Roman freestyle and a blend of raw athleticism with a high-energy festival in Egypt. Gabriel secured a fascinating opening with a win against DR Congo, where his performance was beyond spectacle, where he established a structured and professional pathway
for Sierra Leone's emerging wrestling talent. He also noted that his outing in Egypt was a springboard for the country and the very many young wrestlers who are aiming to meet and exceed their aspirations, and a positive platform where talent can truly shine at the end of the day. The championship delivered more than just a technical fight, but it was a comprehensive experience for Team Sierra Leone. In a unique twist, the president of the Sierra Leone Wrestling Association, Prince Wale, lauded the incredible performance of Gabriel and keeping the country's recognition at a peak between rounds. The resounding silver medal success of Gabriel in the 86th kg freestyle category at the 2026 African Championship in Egypt has now signaled a growing domestic appetite for organized large-scale wrestling fight. By proving they can execute a professional outing in a challenging environment away from home, like with a new benchmark for the sport. With a renewed focus on grassroots development and increase in international exposure, Sierra Leone wrestling appears poised for a new era of sustained progress on the global stage. Now in the international scene, we flip our attention to football. Arsenal and PSG are set for a fascinating Champions League final. Well, the road to the Budapest final wasn't an easy one. The two teams are square off for what will be an exciting showdown. And that ends your update, and thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
Many thanks to Abu Kabir for that latest update in local and international sports. Well, now to end the news, the main point again. Sierra Leone has played host to the 32nd Conference of Directors General of Customs for the World Customs Organization, West and Central Africa, during the opening ceremony of the 5-day summit hosted by the National Revenue Authority. President Julius Maada Bio called on them to embrace digitalization in revenue collection, among other things. The security sector, through the Office of National Security, has, in a press release, taken note of recent media report about a cocaine seizure by Spanish police involving a vessel registered in Comoros Island, which reportedly departed Freetown on the 22nd April 2026 before it was intercepted en route to the Mediterranean. The ONS stated Sierra Leone Port and Harbour Authority and the Sierra Leone Police have not received any official communications from the Spanish authorities regarding the incidents. And key players in Sierra Leone's media sector, including the Independent Media Commission, IMC, the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists Large, the SLBC Board, Paramount Chiefs, and the Attorney General's Office have met to make input into the draft document aimed at reviewing the SLBC's Act of 2009. The engagement sought the identify critical gaps within the existing act and build consensus on the reforms needed to reposition the SLBC as a truly independent public broadcaster. Well, all that we have for you in this edition of News Hour, which came to you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation from a broadcasting house here in Freetown. Continue to view a public broadcaster, the SLBC. News Hour returns tomorrow at 8 a.m. Continue to be a public broadcaster. If not, why not? Have a night rest. Goodbye. I've been a news anchor, Ibrahim Samora. Goodbye.